Welcome back to Two Brothers Talking. Last week we talked about healing from past relationships. This week, our guest is back on, Gabriella Heinz. She's going to be talking about so many things, including what love is. So, talk to us about what's the framework? How do you approach love? And how did you identify what love was?
Yeah, for sure. I'm just going to come in and break the ice on this one because we need to talk about real love. And this is the foundation of my work with sex trafficking prevention, was restoring an accurate definition of what love is. My social impact initiative is called the Agape Project, which means selfless, sacrificial, unconditional love.
Yeah.
It is a Greek word. It is the highest, purest form of love in the Greek language. Love is not a feeling. Love is not an emotion. It's not something that we can just fall out of. Love is something that we choose every day or we do not choose. And when someone has fallen out of love, they have said, I am done choosing this. And we need to get that straight because we need to have full self-responsibility for our actions. No matter what happens in your relationships, you have the opportunity to decide whether or not you will love them. It's not swinging on a pendulum that you hope you hit just right. You decide whether you're going to love someone. Love is sacrifice. It is preferring someone over yourself every single day. Love is the most selfless act that we could be a part of. It's not about us. It's not about us. When people love us in return, it is, because that's what they're doing. They're exchanging a selfless act to us. But when we love other people, it is entirely about them with no motive to serve ourselves. And in fact, I think if we want to love radically, we have to start serving people radically, because that is what love looks like. It's honoring their desires and their needs above our own. It's saying, even though today I don't really want to go on a walk with you, I just don't. I want to be lazy, right? Going back to love languages. I just want to be lazy and sit in the house. But you know that what their soul needs is to go out and spend some time with you. You do it because that's loving them well. It's preferring their needs over your own. And in healthy relationships, you have a mutual exchange of love that happens because you both serve each other. When we are choosing partners, we have to place such a high value on love because we need to pick someone that we're willing to prefer over ourselves every day. Think about that. When you are wondering if you should date this person, if you should marry this person, are you willing to say, I'm going to serve them every day? Or is it not worth it to you? Because at the end of the day, we all come face to face with that choice in our relationships, in our marriages, in our friendships. We get to decide whether or not we are going to keep showing up for them. Love is hard work. Now, I will say this. In relationships that we are supposed to be in, love should not be absolutely exhausting. It should not drain you of everything inside of you with a person that you want to be with, that you should be with friends that add value back to your life. There will be days that it's hard. There will be days that you don't want to do it, but it should not drain your mind, soul, and spirit to love someone. Again, that is a litmus for whether or not your relationships are healthy. Because if it takes everything out of you, gotta go, girl. Gotta go. It should not be that difficult. I think that if we had a clear and healthy perception of what love is, we would not recklessly choose partners because we'd realize the high value that is on love and the work that goes into it every single day.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of misconstrued notions, especially when it comes to love and relationships. There's that it takes 50-50 to make the relationship work. That's
That'd be nice.
false. Because if you're only giving 50-50, that's the reason why it's not working.
Yep.
Yep.
You have to give 100% of yourself. And they have to give 100% of themselves. One of the things that we talked about in premarital counseling with our pastor was love, what love really was, and
Yep.
breaking down agape love, because that was something that was crucial to the relationship working, knowing that it was selfless, knowing that it was sacrificial. There's going to be days that you didn't like them for whatever reason, but you still love them, and being willing to move past that feeling of, "Ugh, I don't want to do this, but why don't I want to do it? Is it because I'm being lazy, like you said? Is it because of something else, or is it because I don't want to choose that person today?" And
Yeah.
I think that's important to be able to figure out before you get into the relationship.
Yep.
One of the things that both Eli and I did was we courted our wives. A lot of folks that don't know what that is, it's similar to dating, but there's a
goal in
catch.
mind.
There's a goal in mind. We courted with the intention of getting married, but the whole time we courted, we were friends.
Mhm.
And friends, there's a lot of being real.
Yeah.
There's a
Mhm.
lot of the ugly and the good at the same time, and that's where you can really develop that love,
Yeah.
because you're not trying to portray something you're not, because you don't want your boyfriend or girlfriend, or the case may be, to not like you or maybe see you in a different light. As a friend, you're showing every side of you.
Yeah.
And so we got to learn, understand, and love our wives to an extent before we even got married, because marriage is a different level of love.
Yeah.
But having that friendship as the baseline allowed us a lot of free form in developing our understanding of love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that we started, and I love the agape love being put in there, because I think one of the most abused words in the English language is love. Because
Yeah.
people don't understand it. And there are several different words for love in, I want to say, Greek and Hebrew. It's like 4 different loves.
Yeah.
And I think we just apply that word too liberally, like, oh, I love hot Cheetos. No, you like hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
When was the
Yeah.
last time you went to a hot Cheeto factory and made some for free? That's love. But love is beyond just the feelings, like you've said, like Gabriella, you've said. And love is best expressed when you have nothing to gain.
Mm.
And when it hurts, when it's sacrificed. Now, I have an example of, there was a time where my wife was struggling with severe allergies and some eczema, and her skin would be very irritated. And at night, it would be, without thinking, she would rub her skin or scratch her skin, and it would make it worse. So I used to be a very deep sleeper, but I got to the point where I would feel movement in my sleep. I would wake up and put her hand back down. And there would be a week where I would sleep maybe 10 hours, just because I would be constantly waking up and putting her hand back down. And I don't say that to be like, oh, I'm the world's best husband here, ladies and gentlemen. But because I cared for my wife more than just the emotional aspect, but she was my friend.
Yeah.
She was, the person that I care for, again, more than just the emotional part, but she was the most important person to me. So did I want to sleep? You bet your bottom dollar I wanted to sleep.
Yeah.
But I wanted her to be comfortable and healthy more.
Yeah.
And I valued that more than me just getting a good night's rest, because she was more important. And a lot of love is wrapped up in the emotions. Well, I just fell in love when I saw love at first sight. No, you didn't. You were infatuated with them. You thought they were handsome. You thought they were beautiful.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love, like, my wife is beautiful, but that's not why I love her. And I think a lot of what I see in this modern generation and a lot of what's going on right now, especially in the culture, is it has to look nice.
Yeah.
A lot of, I really don't do a whole lot of social media, but what I see on social media, and the little bit I kind of put my foot in the pool, is a lot of it's about the looks, the aesthetics. I have to look like I have it together. I have to do all these things I get implants, I get, needles in my body. I get all this stuff to look like I work out. Why don't you just work out? Well, no, that's hard. And a lot of things with,
true.
and that's a lot of it's I want to have a relationship that looks good. it's hard work.
Yeah.
Love is not just, well, I care about this person so much, I'm going to do it, because it's not always going to be in the feelings. When we chose, the person we were going to marry, it was, who do you want to be next to a foxhole in? Who do you want to struggle next to?
Yeah.
Who do you want next to you when you're chasing down your destiny? When you're chasing down who you want to be as a man, is that person next to you going to be fighting with you or fighting against you?
I'm heartbroken about the state of relationships right now because I believe that we're setting ourselves up for failure from the beginning because we yeah, there's so many shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette that talk about love at first sight, and I'm just on this journey trying to figure it out. And I feel like this is the one for me. I feel. And again, like the heart is deceptive above all things. And when we say, I'm gonna feel my way through this, I'm gonna, hope that my heart is telling me the right thing. If your emotions change at any moment, which literally can happen at the stroke of like a hormone surge, like if our neurotransmitters fire off something, our emotions are changing already. And we can't go into relationships saying, I'll be one person today and I'll be another person tomorrow because I feel differently. We have to continue choosing love. That means assuming the best about people doesn't mean that they always do the best, but assuming the best about them means waiting on them. It means being gentle. It means having kind conversation. It means giving them our best without ulterior motives. It means I'm going to do this for you, even if I never saw payment for that back. I'm going to serve you because that's the right thing to do. And so many relationships are failing because people just aren't feeling it anymore. No, you have to pick relationships with a high value on love. So even when you're not feeling it, you're still choosing it every single day. Every single day, because that's the commitment that you made when you said for better or for worse. And I know that there are relationships out there where men and women are physically abusive. I know there are relationships out there where people are emotionally abusive, where they are addicted to drugs and alcohol. And I'm not speaking to that. I know that those are much more complicated scenarios, completely different situation. But if you're in a normal relationship with someone where you just think it's hard to wake up and love them and you don't really want to be with them anymore, but you said yes to them on the altar. You said yes to choosing love when you didn't want to. That's what this is about. That's what you signed up for. And for all of our single people listening, realize, single and dating, okay? Realize the person you're with or that you want to be with, you should be able to say, I want to choose them. And if you're willing to do that, then get married. But if you're not, if that's not a person that you're willing to say, I will sacrifice for and I will serve, get out of that relationship or wait on the man or woman that you're looking for and believe that they exist.
It's a lot easier to, I think, wait. And we kind of experienced this when we were buying houses because we both own a home. It's a lot easier to be patient and buy the right house than it is to buy a really, terribly put together house and fix it.
Yes.
And one thing that we got in premarital counseling was if you guys don't get married, like if it's better you don't get married, don't do it.
Yeah.
And if you do get married, make sure that you have your ducks in a row. Make sure that you're worth marrying. One. And I got to have that relationship with my father-in-law when I first told him that I even had affections for his daughter in a very public place because I was terrified. I said, hey, I have feelings for your daughter. What would it take for me to be the man that you'd let marry your daughter? And he's like, oh, do I have a list for you? And he gave me things and he worked with me for years to help me become that man. But that commitment's not I'll commit for 3 years. No, we're in it for the haul, ladies and gentlemen. This is till death do us part. And we learned in buying a house that sometimes you have to wait.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to make sure that what you're getting is right. And I can't tell you how many times that my brother would tell me, my father-in-law would tell me, it's like, I don't want you to settle. I know it's a nice house, but it's not the best you can get. And when we finally found the house, my wife and I were like, okay, is this what we need? Is this what we're looking for? Because when we got it, we were committing to this house. And that's so much less important than a marriage. And it took so much, I don't want to settle. I don't want to do this. Are you willing to commit for the haul? And when we finally got our houses, I was so glad that we didn't settle because we love our home. I was so glad when I got married. Like it was funny because people would tell me, you're going to cry at the altar when you get married. You're going to cry. You're going to be like, I'm not going to cry. And they're like, why aren't you going to cry? I'm like, because I am ready for this, man. I have counted the cost. I am ready to get married to this person.
Yes.
Like there's no confusion here.
Cost. Yeah. Love that. Count the cost. I pulled up the 4 Greek words for love real quick. I just think that the Greek language does such a beautiful job breaking up what love is, because there really isn't a good descriptor word for the different types of love in the American language.
Yeah.
It's just kind of one word for everything. And the Greek language really sets it up in tiers that I think even add an emphasis on the value that you should place on that type of love and how you should engage with that type of love. And the first, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation because I haven't heard them in a while.
I can help out.
But the first one, I think it's storge or storge is the first one. And it's the Greek word describing family love, the naturally developing affectionate bond between parents, siblings, and family members. Storge, that's what it is. There's the eros love, which is the Greek word for sensual or romantic love. There is philia, which is the type of emotional love between good friends, brotherly love, love for humanity and those in need. And then there is agape love, which is selfless, sacrificial, unconditional love. And it is the purest form of love in the Greek language.
Yeah. And I think that's what lends to, they have 4 different words for it because it's 4 very different things.
Yeah.
And we have one.